Okay, I'm here near the town of Yoav in southern Israel, in a grove, and I'm just gonna make a short clip explaining fractional reserve lending and its implications. Fractional reserve lending, quite simply, is when a bank has X amount of currency on deposit, but then lends out several times the amount it has on deposit. Most people, when they go to borrow money at a bank, believe that the bank has the money to lend. That is not true. They have a small amount of that money on deposit. The rest they create out of thin air. And this is called the fractional reserve lending system. Only banks have this ability, and it's given to them by the state. Now I'm just going to go into a quick tale as to what happens, and this tale explains very well what happens in the long term when you have a system, financial system that employs fractional reserve lending. Let's imagine 11 people on a boat. Let's imagine that boat crashes on a rock next to an island, and the 11 people come aboard the island, and at first they have nothing, so they're sort of refugees on the island, and it's a deserted island, so there's no one else. Now, of those 11 people, let's say one is a banker, and the other 10 are, let's say, tradesmen, professionals, whatever. So, as time goes by, everybody does their own thing, and say the tradesman who's a carpenter makes chairs, and he trades them for, say, oranges or coconuts that one of the other islanders grows. And the barter system works pretty well, except it's pretty cumbersome. For example, if you have oranges but want shoes, you've got to find somebody who's got shoes and wants oranges. Anyhow, the banker comes up with a brilliant idea of coming up with a currency to help people trade. So he tells all the other islanders, I've got a brilliant idea. I'm going to come up with a currency, and we're going to use this currency on the island to trade amongst each other. It's going to work out great, trust me, and for my services, I will charge you all, say, 5% on the amount of currency I lend to you to use. This, after all, is my system. The islanders are dubious, but they agree to it. And so the banker prints up, in the finest tradition of fractional reserve lending, currency out of thin air, say $100 for each islander. So the banker prints up 100 times 10. Okay? So $1,000 total, and he divvies it up amongst the islanders. Each islander gets $100. The islanders start using the currency, and sure enough, it's great. Facilitates trading by a lot. And before you know it, they're super happy with this whole currency idea. And they're actually trading a lot more amongst each other. And the very fact that there is a currency at play speeds up the amount of commerce on the island, and there's a wealth effect created for all the islanders. So everyone is super happy. End of the year comes, and the banker asks everybody if they're happy, and they say yes. It's been a good year. And he asked them all for their $5, because he lent them all $100. They each happily fork over $5 from whatever's left of the original 100 in their pockets. Now some have made money during the year and have 120, say 130 or 150. Others have lost money during the year and have, say, 75 or $70, whatever. They each take out $5 from whatever they have left and pay the banker for having used his currency for 1 year. Works out great, no? Well, let's go into the second year. The second year, trading goes on, and at the end of the second year, again, everybody on the island has to fork over 5% of their original loan to the banker, another $5. So if you remember correctly, the first year, out of the $1,000, at the end of the year, the banker took back $50. The second year, the banker takes back a similar amount. Third year, again. On and on this goes, because there's interest to be paid every year, until eventually, if you think about it, all of the currency on the island will end up back in the banker's pocket. For the simple reason that when he created the currency, he did not create the interest to go with it. So it's a mathematical certainty, it's only a question of time, when a fractional reserve lending system is used, when the currency is issued without the interest being issued at the same time into the system, it's a mathematical certainty that eventually, when the chickens come home to roost, all wealth, all currency on the island, and therefore all wealth, will return to the banker's pockets. And that is the obvious fallacy in a fractional reserve lending system, which is ignored and not known by the public, but very well known by those in power. It functions as a siphon for wealth.